I quit my life in India and I went traveling for 2.5 years. And the way I did this was I essentially sold pretty much every possession I had. As luck would have it, one of the things that I had to sell was this house that I had bought in order to do tax saving, right? So because I had this, I had a really good job and I got a raise one fine day, which put me way above the regular tax bracket. And I need to save some tax out of that. I had already maxed out the amount of investments that I could have done. The government lets you like save another $1.5 lakh every year on tax if you have a housing loan. The good thing was I didn't have a emotional attachment to this place. And I always knew that I was going to sell it. When my job started getting a little too much and I wanted to actually quit and join somewhere new, I realized that I was at a very unique place in my life. No one really needed me physically to be in Bombay. My parents were around, but they were pretty well settled. I was essentially free, right? I could do whatever I wanted. And I had this house, so I had a fair amount of cash tied up in it. So what I did was I sold it. It turned out to be double of what I had bought it for. Paid off the loan and essentially went traveling. So my plan was 6 months in the US, go down through Central America and into South America and spend the next 6 months there and then come back. As luck would have it, I happened to find a freelance gig that let me essentially work from anywhere in the world so long as I had internet. Now this meant that South America was out, but the rest of the world was in, right? So what I did was I spent the next 3 months in Europe and went to Germany, got an apartment. That was my home base for a few months. I managed to go to Tomorrowland in Belgium. I went all over Iceland. I went to Greenland, which was amazing. And then after the cold, it was time for some fun in the sun. So I came back to India, did more visas and went off to Southeast Asia. My original plan was to go off for 1 year. This would have, according to my calculations, cost about 10 lakhs or so, 10 to 12 lakhs. What actually ended up happening was because I spent only 6 months in the US and they ended up being like a significantly more expensive 6 months than I had planned. I guess I ended up spending way more than my initial budget of 12 lakhs. So I ended up spending around like 20 lakhs maybe. But the good thing was a lot of that was offset by the income that I was getting while I was freelancing everywhere else. Out of my initial savings, I probably spent like 8 lakhs. What's next for me is I'm probably going to go traveling again, definitely going to go with someone. Probably my fiancée if she can stand me for that long. Our long-term goal though is that we want to set up a homestay somewhere, preferably in the hills, somewhere in India. So we are saving towards that right now. I think that's going to be our next milestone.